the last time we won a Champions League, I was a boy in primary school. Now I am a man with beard and my team still has not won the Champions League. Bro, deodorant wasn't even invented the last time Barcelona won the Champions League. It's been 11 long years since my club has not been European champions. To be honest, this is unacceptable. This is the year that Barca finally wins the Champions League. We have just brought in Rodri to Barca, right? Rodri, who is arguably the best player in his position. It's because of Rodri that Spain won the Euros and the World Cup. Last season, the reason why Man City struggled as much as they did is because Rodri was injured. But when Rodri came back towards the end of the season, City even started competing for the league title. So I know that Rodri is going to elevate the level of Barca. Even though this season we have not signed a centre-back, Rodri as a defensive midfielder is going to solve our defensive issues. Rodri, because of his physicality, he is going to protect our back line. So Barcelona this season, we have no excuse why we cannot be competing for the UCL. Honestly, I am not happy with the way Barca treats the UCL. Because at times, I feel like my team is not very serious when it comes to the Champions League. Real Madrid, they would prefer to sacrifice La Liga and compete for the Champions League. Gareth Bale said in an interview that the Real Madrid's main focus was the Champions League. And with Barca, it looks like at times the Champions League is not their main focus. At times, I feel like Barca is not putting their full attention, their full focus, their full energy into the Champions League. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Last season, against Atletico Madrid, we were playing Atletico in the second leg of the Copa del Rey, and we were, I believe, 3 goals down, right? Or maybe, I believe 4 goals down. And after that game, we had a Champions League second leg also against Atletico Madrid. Guess what? Hansi Flick played all of our starters in that Copa del Rey second leg against Atletico Madrid, even though after that game we had an important Champions League game. So can you see that Barca does not really prioritize the Champions League? Because if you are really prioritizing the Champions League, Hansi Flick would have rested Lamine, Pedri and all of our starters in that second leg against Atletico Madrid so that they can be fully fit for the Champions League. I won't lie, these type of things really hurt me. I feel like Barcelona, we should have won the Champions League at least 2 more times after 2015. Like, for example, in 2019, we should have won the Champions League. We were already 3-0 up against Liverpool, but we fumbled it, right? I think the year before that against Roma, we were also like 4-1 up in the first leg, but we fumbled it in the second leg. So Barca, when it comes to the Champions League, I am not happy with the mentality that my team shows in the Champions League. My team, when it comes to the Champions League, they don't have that dog in them, right? They don't have that winning, that fighting mentality the way Real Madrid does. And this is disappointing for a club as big as Barca. At times, I feel like Barca is comfortable only winning La Liga, right? I feel like if Barca wins La Liga, for them, they are comfortable enough. This is embarrassing. That's why this season, we need to do everything in our power to win the Champions League. And I've written down 5 things that Barcelona should do if they want to compete for the Champions League. The first one is drop the high line. This is by far the most important thing that Barcelona has to do if they want to compete for the Champions League. The high line, it can work in La Liga, right? Because those teams in La Liga are ass. Those teams in La Liga are weak, right? La Liga teams do not have enough quality to punish Barcelona's high line. But when you play in the Champions League against other great teams in Europe, they are going to destroy us with that high line. Look at Atletico Madrid last season. These people knocked us out of the Champions League. What if we play against teams such as Bayern, such as PSG, such as Man City, teams with incredible attacking threat? What do you think they are going to do to our high line? Bro, we even lost to Chelsea last season in the Champions League. So that high line, it needs to be dropped. Because it is way too dangerous. We don't need to play a high line in order to win games. Look at all of these other great teams in Europe, such as Bayern Munich and PSG. These teams, they don't play an aggressive highline the way Barcelona does. But these teams, they still score a lot of goals. So why can't we play in a similar way like PSG and Bayern Munich? Why can't we find a system that allows us to score a lot of goals, but also to be defensively solid at the back? And me, to be honest, I am not such a big fan of, oh, we have to score a lot of goals. No, it is not important. Scoring a lot of goals is not what wins you titles. Defense is what wins you titles. Scoring a lot of goals, yes, it's going to win you games. But if you want to win titles, defensively, as a team, you need to be solid. Look at Spain in the World Cup. Spain did not have the best attack, but they had the best defense. Spain in this World Cup conceded only 1 goal in this entire World Cup. In 8 games, these people conceded 1 goal and they ended up lifting the trophy. France, they had the best attack. They had the most scariest attack in this World Cup. They had Mbappe, Doué, Dembele, Barcola, Olise, but when they played against a team that had the best defense, that team ended up winning. So you see, defense is what wins you titles. Attack wins you games, but defense wins you titles. That's why Barcelona, we need to improve in our defense. Because yes, our attack is going to win us matches. But if we want to win the Champions League, we need to strengthen our defense. And that starts by dropping the high line. And also, the high line is very aggressive. The season is long. These players, they play a lot of games. You cannot expect them to be running up and down like mad people throughout the entire season. It is extremely exhausting, right? It is not going to work. These players, they're gonna get injured because Hansi Flick's style of play is too demanding, right? It takes a huge toll on the body. So that's another reason why this high line should be dropped, because I don't want our players to get injured because of this high line. Then when we go into crucial matches at the end of the season, for example in the Champions League and so forth, right, when we reach like the quarterfinals or the semifinals of the UCL and then our players are injured, I don't want that. So this is another reason why we should drop the high line. Number 2 is defend smartly. Barcelona defenders, sometimes I don't know. These people defend like chickens with no head. How many times did Barcelona defenders get red cards in the knockout stages of the Champions League? Bro, I can think 4 times when Barcelona defenders got red cards in the knockout stages in important matches of the Champions League. With Ronald, it happened 2 times. First against PSG. Barca was already leading. Oh my goodness. Bro, we were already leading PSG. Ronald made a dumb tackle on Barcola. He got sent off and eventually we lost that game. It also happened against Chelsea when he got a red card. Ronald is not the only one that does these dumb mistakes. Yes, I know a lot of Barca fans are always targeting Ronald, but he is not the only one. Barca has also gotten 2 red cards in the knockout stages of the UCL. First, it was in the 2024-2025 season against Benfica. Yes, against Benfica. Also, last season in the quarterfinals against Atletico Madrid, Kubasi got sent off again. Alright? Also, not just him, Eric also got sent off in that second leg against Atletico Madrid. So our defenders, these people, they need to calm down. Alright? They need to start thinking. If you are the last man, do not foul the player. It is better for them to score and Barca still has 11 players than for you to foul that player and then Barca plays the rest of the game with only 10 men. This is not wise. So our Barca players, our Barca defenders, they need to start defending like people with brains. So that's the second part. Hansi Flick, he needs to pull these players by the ears and tell them not to repeat those dumb mistakes. This season in the Champions League, I don't want to see a red card. I don't want to see a red card in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Number 3 is Joan Garcia. He needs to be on his A game. Joan Garcia, he needs to put out masterclass after masterclass after masterclass. The reason why teams also go on to win the Champions League is because their keepers are moving like crazy. Just look at Real Madrid. How many times has Courtois bailed Real Madrid out? How many times has Courtois played like he had 10 arms? So Garcia, this guy has to move like Prime Buffon, Manuel Neuer, and a sprinkle of Courtois. Garcia in the Champions League, I won't lie, this guy has been a bit underwhelming. Like, Garcia has not done very well in the Champions League compared to La Liga. In La Liga, he has been outstanding. But when it comes to the UCL, I want this guy to perform a bit better. Honestly, I have not been impressed with Garcia in the Champions League. So he needs to improve on that. The fourth is our players need to be extremely clinical. Being clinical in front of goal is what makes the difference between a team winning and a team losing. You cannot be missing chances for fun. I remember that game between Dortmund and Real Madrid in 2024. For me, Dortmund was supposed to win that game because Dortmund, they were the better team compared to Real Madrid. The only difference is Real Madrid were more clinical in front of goal compared to Dortmund. I still remember before Vinicius scored that first goal, Dortmund had so many chances. At the Emi, this guy missed a beautiful chance. So Dortmund had chances. They could have scored first. They could have scored 2 goals even, right? But they missed all of their chances. And when Real Madrid scored, it was over. You feel me? But if Dortmund had scored first, it could have been a different story, right? Dortmund could have been champions of Europe. If they scored first, you never know. You feel me? So players, they need to be clinical in front of goal. It is very important. I don't want to see Fermin, Dani Olmo, Rafinha, Adeyemi, Gordon, Lamine missing easy chances in front of goal. I don't want to see that. Our players, they need to be clinical. The last thing Barcelona needs to win the Champions League is luck. To be honest, it is luck, right? Because the Champions League is a cup tournament. And in cup tournaments, you also need luck. Maybe another team gets a red card. Now you guys are playing against 10 men. Or maybe they give away a penalty. Now you guys have an advantage. You feel me? Sometimes in cup tournaments, it is not always the best team that ends up winning that cup. Real Madrid, they don't play the best brand of football. Real Madrid, in all of these years that they have been winning the UCL, you can't tell me that they have been 10 times better than Barcelona. No. Because Barcelona were out there winning the league back to back. You feel me? Barca were out there dominating the league. So if Real Madrid was a much better team compared to Barca, they were supposed to be winning the league. But no, they were not. Right? But in the UCL, they were performing. They were winning Champions League after Champions League after Champions League. So in a sense, you do also need luck to win the Champions League. So guys, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments down below, what do you guys think Barcelona needs to do in order to win the Champions League?